Explosive backstage argument between Jimin and Jungkook turns shocking when Jin secretly records everything tension, betrayal, and secrets unfold. Are you seriously defending yourself over that, Jungkook? Jimin's voice cracked with anger before the room could even breathe. You don't get it, Jimin. I did what I had to do, Jungkook snapped, the words sharper than knives, slicing through the fragile tension that had been building all week. I had to do what you couldn't even imagine, Jimin shot back, pacing in a circle, each word punctuated with frustration. Every single move, every decision. It's all about you, isn't it? Always you. Jungkook's eyes narrowed, but he didn't back down. And what about you? Always playing the victim, spinning everything into your perfect little narrative. Do you think I don't see it? This isn't about narratives. Jimin slammed his hand onto the nearest surface. It's about loyalty, about responsibility. You crossed a line again. Crossed a line? Jungkook's laugh was bitter, low, and dangerous. You think you haven't? You act like everything is black and white, but the world isn't a stage you can control. The room was a battlefield of words, each sentence more charged than the last. A storm building without warning. Every accusation revealed a fracture in trust they had tried to ignore for months. You think you're the only one who's struggling? Jimin's tone cracked, suddenly more raw, more vulnerable than before. I carry this too, Jungkook. Don't act like you're alone in this chaos. I know you carry it. Jungkook's voice rose again, shaking with a mixture of guilt and anger. And yet, you keep blaming me. Every time, it's always me. You're blind if you can't see it. Jimin's words hit hard. The kind that linger. The kind that echo after they leave the room. Everything I've done, everything I've sacrificed, it means nothing to you, does it? The tension was suffocating. A volatile mix of resentment and desperation. Jungkook's hands clenched, words choking in his throat for a fraction of a second before spilling out. Do you even know what I've given up? Do you know what it cost me to get here? You think I don't? Jimin countered sharply. You think I don't see the choices, the risks, the nights you couldn't sleep? We both lost pieces of ourselves along the way, Jungkook. And yet you act like I betrayed you. A long pause, not of peace, but of raw understanding that neither wanted to admit. Their chests burned, hearts racing not from exertion but from exposure truths they had hidden even from themselves, now illuminated by the heat of confrontation. You're impossible, Jungkook muttered, voice quieting but still fierce. Do you ever think about anyone but yourself? And you, Jimin shot back, do you ever think about us? About what we could be if you just stop? Stop running from everything you're afraid of? The room fell into a different silence then, a suspended moment between fury and clarity, when suddenly the unmistakable sound of a phone click broke the fragile air. Jin stepped in, calm but deliberate, holding his phone up with an almost smug awareness. Interesting conversation, guys. I hope you don't mind that I've recorded this. The fire between Jimin and Jungkook didn't die. It ignited differently, now tempered by disbelief, humiliation, and the shock of exposure. You what? Jimin turned sharply, eyes wide. Jin, seriously? Jungkook's voice wavered, a mixture of anger and incredulity. I thought you'd want a record, Jin said evenly, his gaze steady. This could be useful later. For a moment, neither Jimin nor Jungkook could respond. Their fight, their truths, their raw confessions all now immortalized, leaving them unarmed, unprotected, and glaring at the friend who had silently captured every word. Jimin exhaled slowly, finally letting the tension seep into reflection. We have to figure this out, Jungkook, before it's too late. Jungkook nodded, though the weight of their argument and now the recording pressed down hard. Yeah, we do. But it's not going to be easy. The three stood in silence, not one of peace, but of the quiet after a storm, the aftermath of truths laid bare, wounds exposed, and secrets captured forever. And as Jin pocketed his phone, the unspoken realization hung heavy. Nothing would ever be the same. You really think recording us changes anything? Jimin's words were sharp, his anger still simmering from the previous night. I don't think, Jin said coolly, leaning against the doorway. I know. Everything you two are feeling, all that tension, it's all here now, and it's not going anywhere. Jungkook's jaw tightened. So, this is your idea of helping? Or are you just enjoying this? Jin's smile was faint, unreadable. Neither. I just think it's time you face the truth. You're hiding behind excuses, both of you, and it's exhausting to watch. Excuses? Jimin spat the word out, pacing again. You have no idea what I've been carrying. No idea what sacrifices I've made so you could act like a victim. And you think I don't know? Jungkook's voice rose, cracking with frustration. Every sleepless night, every compromise, every risk I took, do you think I did it for nothing? For my own ego? Ego? Jimin stopped mid-step, glaring. I've been trying to hold this together while you push me aside at every turn. He hesitated, swallowing hard. You don't even realize how much you've hurt me. Maybe because I never wanted to. Jungkook shot back. Maybe because I've been terrified of the consequences of every single decision. Do you think it's easy watching you spiral while I try to keep us from falling apart? You're always trying to control everything. Jimin's accusation rang out like a bell in the tense room. Do you even know what it's like to feel powerless, Jungkook? To feel like nothing you do matters, no matter how hard you fight? Jungkook's hands tightened into fists. Control? Maybe that's exactly what I'm trying to do, because if I don't, we all burn. Burn? Jimin's laugh was bitter, unhinged. Do you know what it feels like to watch someone you care about make choices that could destroy everything? Choices you can't stop, no matter how much you want to? The air between them crackled. Each word a spark, threatening to ignite an inferno of old grudges, unspoken fears, and fragile pride. You think I don't care? Jungkook's voice lowered, venom replaced by a quiet ache. You think I enjoy this pain? This constant pressure? I'm not the enemy here, Jimin. You're not the enemy? Jimin stepped closer, voice trembling. Tell me that when everything falls apart because of one reckless move, tell me that when the world watches us crumble. Jin's phone buzzed slightly in his pocket. He ignored it, letting the two of them circle each other with words instead of fists. Maybe the problem, he interjected, is that neither of you knows how to communicate without tearing each other apart. Don't tell me what I know, Jimin shouted, the words cutting deep. You've been the same the whole time, Jin. You record everything, yet you never intervene until it's convenient for you. I intervene when it matters, Jin said, calm but insistent. And right now, it matters. You can't keep pretending that silence solves problems. You're both on the edge, and it's not a bluff, you know it. Jungkook's voice softened, though the anger still lingered. We're breaking ourselves, Jimin, and if we don't face it, maybe we're breaking more than just ourselves. Jimin's chest tightened. Do you even know what that means? That every word, every action, every fight it leaves scars that never heal? Maybe that's why I lash out, why I fight so hard I can't stand to lose more. Then stop running from me, Jungkook said, quiet but sharp. Stop hiding behind all the guilt and anger. Face me. Face us. You don't even understand, Jimin murmured, almost to himself. You'll never understand the choices I've made, the people I've had to leave behind, the lines I've crossed to protect what matters. And now you judge me? I don't judge, Jungkook snapped. I just wish you'd let me in instead of shutting me out every time things get complicated. The room fell into tense silence, each heartbeat loud, each breath heavy. Then Jin, ever the observer, broke it again. You two have spent months tiptoeing around each other, avoiding confrontation, pretending everything is fine. But fine isn't real. Fine is a lie, and lies have a way of catching up with you. Fine? Jimin repeated bitterly. You mean the lies we tell ourselves to survive? The lies that keep us from destroying each other completely? Yes, Jin said, those lies. And now you're at a crossroads. Keep lying or face the consequences of truth. Jungkook's voice lowered, trembling slightly, but with intensity. Truth isn't clean, Jimin. Truth hurts. And if you're ready for it, we're about to find out how much we can really take. And if we can't, Jimin whispered, almost afraid to finish the sentence, then we break, Jungkook said simply. And maybe it's better to break together than alone. Jin's phone, still recording, hummed softly in his pocket. The realization hung in the air. Whatever happened next, there would be no denying it, no pretending it didn't exist. Their anger, their pain, their confessions, all preserved. You think you're ready? Jin asked finally. Because once this is out, it's irreversible. No rewinds, no edits. Jimin's voice trembled, but determination laced his words. We have to be. No matter how much it hurts, No matter how messy it gets, we have to face it. We can't keep hiding. Jungkook nodded, his own fear and resolve intertwined. Then let's do it. Let's tear it all open and see what survives. For a moment, the room was quiet, except for the subtle, constant buzz of Jin's phone, capturing the storm that had been months in the making. And as the three of them prepared to confront the consequences, there was no turning back, only the raw, unfiltered truth that would change everything. You really think you can just say that and walk away? Jimin's voice was a blade slicing through the charged silence. Walk away? Jungkook repeated, almost mocking. Do you think I have a choice when everything you do pulls me deeper into chaos? Everything I do seems to be wrong in your eyes. Wrong? Jimin's words were brittle with disbelief. Every step I take is wrong unless it's exactly what you expect. Do you know what that feels like? To constantly measure your worth by someone else's approval? I'm not your judge, Jungkook barked. I'm trying to survive the storm you dragged me into. The storm I drag you into? Jimin's laugh was harsh, unrestrained. You think I'm the one causing this? Maybe it's time you look in the mirror, Jungkook. Maybe the storm has been inside you all along. You're impossible, Jungkook muttered, each word weighted with frustration, exhaustion, and the edge of despair. Every time I think we're close to understanding, you twist it into battle. Every time I reach out, it becomes war. And maybe that's because you've never really reached out, Jimin shouted. Every time I've tried to get through to you, you barricade yourself behind excuses and pride. He hesitated, swallowing his anger. You act like the world is simpler than it is. Like everything can be fixed with a single apology or gesture. Jungkook's hands clenched, voice trembling slightly but sharp. And you think it's easy for me? You think it's easy being the one who carries all the responsibility while everyone else sees only the surface? You've been hiding behind responsibility for months, Jimin shot back. Hiding behind your so-called duty while pretending you care. You don't care, Jungkook. Not truly. That's not true, Jungkook snapped, eyes blazing with anger and hurt intertwined. I care more than you can imagine. Every risk I take, every move I make, it's all for us. All for this. And yet, you accuse me of being selfish? You are selfish, Jimin shouted, voice breaking under the weight of everything he had been holding back. You care about your image, your role, your control. You think your struggle is the only one that matters, and that somehow makes you heroic. Heroic? Jungkook's voice dropped low, dangerous and raw. I'm not heroic. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And maybe that's why I can't handle you anymore, because I'm drowning in everything you don't see. You think I don't see? Jimin's voice was a low roar. Do you think I don't feel every sleepless night, every battle, every crack in this so-called perfection? I see it. I live it. And I resent you for not sharing it, for not letting me in when I begged you to. And you think shouting solves it? Jungkook's words were jagged, fragmented with emotion. You think that throwing your pain at me will make me understand? It doesn't. It just tears us apart further. I don't care if it tears us apart, Jimin cried. I've been holding this in for too long. I've been silent while watching us fracture, while pretending that your choices aren't destroying everything we've built. I can't do it anymore. The tension in the room had escalated to a point where words alone were sharp enough to wound. Each syllable was a revelation, each accusation a confession of hidden truths neither had dared to admit. Jin, standing a few steps away with his phone still recording, finally spoke. You two are exhausting. All this energy, all this fury. What if you've been fighting the wrong fight? What do you mean? Jimin asked, breathless, wary. You've been blaming each other for things neither of you control, Jin said, and yet you've refused to see the other side. You think this is about mistakes or failures, but it's not. It's about fear. You're both terrified, and instead of sharing that fear, you throw it at each other. Jungkook's shoulders slumped slightly. Fear? Of what? Of losing everything? Exactly, Jin replied. Fear of vulnerability. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of showing weakness. And here you are, spilling it all in the form of anger. Maybe that's easier than admitting the truth, Jimin said softly, though the tremor in his voice betrayed his resolve. Maybe it's easier to fight than to face what's really going on inside us. And what is really going on? Jungkook demanded. Because I'm not sure anymore. I don't know if I'm angry, hurt, or desperate. I don't know which of these feelings is real, and which is just pain recycled into blame. You're scared, Jin said simply. And so am I, in a different way. But hiding it won't protect you. It only gives the other person a target. You think we can fix this? Jimin asked, his tone a mixture of hope and doubt. Maybe, Jin said, but only if you stop fighting each other and start facing yourselves. Only if you stop blaming and start speaking honestly. Everything else is just noise, and I've recorded enough noise for a lifetime. The words hung in the room like smoke, thick and suffocating. Jungkook's chest rose and fell rapidly, his mind racing with the weight of his decisions, the mistakes he'd made, and the fragile bonds that still tethered him to Jimin. Then, we talk? Jungkook asked cautiously, as though afraid the words would shatter the fragile truce. Yes, Jimin whispered, voice hoarse. We talk. No more games. No more running. No more walls between us. And if it hurts? Jungkook asked, almost afraid of the answer. Then we endure, Jimin said, because it's worth it. And because, maybe, we need to know how strong we can be together, or how far we can fall apart. Jin lowered his phone slightly, as if finally satisfied. Then start. Say everything. No filters. No defenses. And let's see if you survive this conversation without tearing each other apart completely. And as the two of them launched into words that cut, exposed, and revealed, the recording continued to capture every fragment of anger, desperation, and tentative hope. Every secret, every confession, every confrontation, the raw truth of their fractured bond, etched forever into memory. For the first time, neither Jimin nor Jungkook felt in control. And yet, paradoxically, they both felt a strange sense of liberation. Jin's presence, the phone, the undeniable record of everything it forced them to face themselves, forced them to confront fears they had buried too long, forced them to reconcile the lines between anger and love, between betrayal and loyalty. And somewhere in that chaos, in the raw collision of emotion and confrontation, they began to realize that this argument, this fight, this brutal truth might just be the thing that saved them. Jimin's voice trembled with fury and desperation as he leaned closer. Do you know what it's like, Jungkook? To carry all this weight? To keep pretending everything's okay while your world is collapsing around you? And you think I don't feel it? Jungkook's reply was harsh, almost pleading. You think I don't stay awake at night, thinking about every mistake, every risk, every word I shouldn't have said? You think it's easy carrying guilt, like a shadow that never leaves you? Guilt? Jimin's laugh was raw, bitter. You talk about guilt like it's yours alone. I've been drowning in guilt too. Every choice I made, every compromise, every secret I kept, it's all a chain around my neck, and you never once tried to understand it. I did try, Jungkook shouted, voice cracking. Every time I reached for you, every time I tried to tell you I needed you, you shut me out. Do you have any idea what it feels like to be rejected by the person you're trying to save? Rejected? Jimin spat the word like venom. I wasn't rejecting you. I was protecting us. Maybe you think you're strong enough to handle everything, but you're reckless. You throw yourself into danger without thinking, and I can't watch you destroy yourself and expect me to do nothing. You think I'm reckless? Jungkook's words were low, dangerous, full of raw intensity. You think I don't calculate, don't plan, don't sacrifice? Every move I make is for us, even when it kills me inside. But no, you only see the mistakes, the risks you would never take yourself. You think I don't understand sacrifice? Jimin's voice rose, each word cutting deep. Do you know how many times I've had to choose between loyalty to you and my own conscience? How many nights I've spent questioning whether keeping this together is worth the cost? And the cost is us, Jungkook muttered almost to himself. Every choice, every fight, every word, it's all leaving scars. You see me as reckless, I see you as blind. We're both hurting, both trapped, and neither of us knows how to fix it. Then maybe that's the point. Jimin's voice broke. Maybe there is no fix. Maybe we're not meant to make it out unscathed. Maybe this, he gestured vaguely between them, this chaos, this fire is what defines us. And if it burns us completely? Jungkook asked, the vulnerability in his voice barely hidden. What then? What happens to us when everything collapses? Then we face it, Jimin whispered, more to himself than to Jungkook. Because running, hiding, pretending it hasn't saved us before, and it won't save us now. If we're going down, we go down together. The room was a battlefield of words, tension stretching like taut wires ready to snap. Each accusation, each confession, each admission of pain and fear cut deeper than any physical blow could. Jin, standing at the edge with his phone still recording, finally spoke, his tone calm but loaded with authority. Do you realize what you're doing? Not just to yourselves, but to each other? You're dismantling months, maybe years of trust in the space of an hour. And yet, you're still unwilling to truly listen. I am listening, Jimin snapped, exhaustion and fury mingling. I've been listening, Jungkook. Every complaint, every excuse, every reason you think justifies what you did. I've been listening and suffering in silence while you pretended to lead. And you think I haven't suffered? Jungkook's words were sharp, cutting through the room. Every sleepless night, every compromise, every silent burden, I've carried it all. I've been holding this together while you accuse me of tearing it apart. And I accuse you because you are tearing it apart, Jimin shouted, nearly shaking. Every move you make, every decision you take without me, you fracture us. You think I'm blind? You think I don't see the chaos you leave behind? You think I want this? Jungkook's voice dropped to a growl, each word dripping with intensity. You think I enjoy watching everything crumble while I'm powerless to stop it? You think I don't feel the cracks in my own resolve every single day? You don't! Jimin's words came out like fire. You feel nothing. You act like this is all a game, like every fight, every argument, every betrayal is just another scene in your story. It's not a story, Jungkook. It's reality. And reality doesn't forgive. And maybe that's why we're arguing, Jungkook said, voice trembling but unwavering. Because reality is bigger than either of us. Because the stakes are higher than our egos. Because we've been lying to ourselves about how much we can handle. You think I'm lying? Jimin's voice softened slightly, edged with a raw vulnerability he had kept hidden. Maybe I am. Maybe I've been lying to myself to survive. But at least I'm honest in my anger, honest in my fear. Can you say the same? I am honest. Jungkook's words were jagged, fierce. Every night, I lie awake, questioning, doubting, regretting. Every day I fight to make this work. I'm honest in my struggle, in my pain, in my desperate attempts to protect what matters. And yet you push me away, Jimin said, quieter now, voice breaking. Every time I try to reach you, you retreat. You let me fight this alone while you hide behind walls I can't climb. I retreat because I'm scared, Jungkook shouted, finally letting the raw emotion explode. Scared of failing you, scared of failing myself, scared of destroying everything we've built. Can't you see that? I see it. Jimin's voice was fierce again, rising. And it terrifies me. Terrifies me that the person I trust most could also be the one who destroys me if I let my guard down. Then let's stop pretending, Jungkook said, voice low and intense. Stop pretending we're invincible. Stop pretending we know what's best. We don't. We only know we're hurting, and we only know we need each other. And Jin? Jimin's voice dropped to a whisper. What about him? What about the fact that he recorded everything? That nothing we've said is private anymore? He recorded truth, Jungkook said simply, the tension in his body easing slightly. Not lies, not blame, not manipulation. Truth. And maybe that's exactly what we need. A record of who we really are when we're stripped bare. Jin lowered his phone slowly, meeting both their gazes. It's not about evidence. It's about reality. This recording won't ruin you. It will remind you that despite the fights, despite the betrayals, despite the anger and pain, you're still here, together. For a long moment, silence settled over them. Not peace, not resolution, but the quiet after an emotional storm, the calm that precedes clarity. Jimin exhaled shakily. Then, we try. Really try. No more hiding. No more running. Jungkook nodded, determination settling in, though fear lingered. We try. Even if it hurts. Even if it breaks us. And if it breaks us? Jimin asked quietly, almost afraid of the answer. Then we learn what survives, Jungkook said simply. And maybe what survives is stronger than we ever imagined. The three stood there, the tension now replaced by fragile resolve. Jin's phone, still recording, captured everything. The anger, the fear, the desperation, the hope, every word, every confession, every emotional fracture. And in that recording lay the truth of their bond. Raw, unfiltered, and unbreakable, despite the chaos. And as they prepared to face the consequences of honesty, confrontation, and vulnerability, there was a shared understanding. Nothing would ever be the same. They were changed. They were exposed. And they were, somehow, ready to rebuild what had almost fallen apart. You think walking away solves anything? Jimin's voice cut through the room, sharp, accusing every word loaded with the remnants of last night's fight. I didn't walk away, Jungkook shot back, chest heaving. I stayed. I listened. I tried to fix it. But nothing I do is ever enough for you. Not enough? Jimin's laugh was bitter, the edges of it raw with pain. Do you even realize how much you've hurt me? How many times you've made choices without me, thrown me aside like I'm invisible, like my perspective doesn't matter? I didn't throw you aside. Jungkook's voice was nearly a shout. Do you think I like feeling this powerless? Do you think it's fun to watch the person you care about spiral because of decisions you never wanted to make? Decisions you never wanted to make? Jimin's words were jagged. You think I'm blind to your intentions? Every move you've made has consequences, Jungkook, and every one of those consequences has landed on me. And you think I don't know that? Jungkook's voice dropped low, trembling with a mixture of frustration and desperation. Do you think I haven't spent nights questioning, doubting, beating myself up for every misstep, every risk, every word spoken or unspoken? And yet you keep doing it, Jimin shouted, stepping closer. Every time, the same mistakes. You think just because you care, it absolves you of responsibility? You think love or loyalty or whatever excuse you tell yourself makes it okay to hurt me over and over? I care more than you'll ever understand. Jungkook's words were fierce, piercing. Every move I make is for us. Every risk I take, every sleepless night, every ounce of effort, it's all for what we are, what we mean to each other. And I've been trying too. Jimin's voice cracked, the weight of months pressing down. I've carried things you couldn't even imagine, made sacrifices you'll never know, fought battles behind the scenes while you... He stopped, swallowing hard. While you acted like the world revolves around you and your pain. It does not revolve around me, Jungkook barked, frustration burning every word. I live in constant fear of losing what we have, constantly questioning whether I'm doing the right thing. Every move I make, I consider the consequences. And somehow, it's still never enough for you. Jin, standing silently at the edge, finally stepped forward. Maybe that's the problem. Neither of you understands how to be vulnerable without attacking each other. You're so focused on defending your own pain, you can't even see the other person's suffering. I am vulnerable, Jimin snapped. Do you know how much it takes for me to even say what I'm saying right now? Do you think it's easy to admit fear, guilt, and hurt without fearing it'll be thrown back at me? You are, but it's twisted, Jin said calmly, phone still recording, capturing every volatile moment. Vulnerability without understanding becomes weaponized. You're not hurting each other with honesty. You're hurting each other with assumptions about intentions. You think assumptions matter when the results are real? Jungkook growled. When the mistakes pile up and the people you care about are dangling on the edge of trust? Yes, Jimin shouted. Assumptions become reality when you refuse to acknowledge them. When you hide behind pride, Jungkook, you make the chaos worse. Every lie you tell yourself about why you're doing this, why you're right, just builds a wall between us. I'm not lying to myself, Jungkook snapped. Every risk, every decision I know exactly what I'm doing. And I do it because I care. I do it because if I don't, everything we've built, everything we've fought for, collapses. And you think I don't care? Jimin's voice was desperate, a mixture of anger and heartbreak. Do you think I enjoy this constant battle? This tension, this fear? You think I want to feel powerless every time you make a move without me? You're not powerless. Jungkook's voice was fierce, almost shaking with intensity. You've been my anchor, Jimin. And yet you throw me against the rocks and wonder why I bleed. Anchor? Jimin repeated, voice trembling. Do you even know what it's like to be the anchor? To bear weight after weight, responsibility after responsibility, while also fighting for your own survival? You don't get it, Jungkook. You don't see the cost of your choices. I see it. Jungkook's reply was sharp, bordering on desperation. Every mistake, every risk, every argument, I see it all. And it haunts me. Every day, every night. You think I enjoy this pain? You act like pain gives you an excuse. Jimin fired back. Like your sleepless nights, your struggles. Make it okay to leave me dangling, uncertain, always wondering if I'm enough. You are enough, Jungkook yelled, the words spilling out with raw intensity. And maybe that's why it hurts so much when you doubt me, when you accuse me of things I haven't done, when you push me away instead of letting me in. I doubt because I care. Jimin's voice rose, almost breaking. Because I've seen what happens when I don't. Because I've lived the consequences of choices made in silence, in secrecy, in pride, and I refuse to let us fall apart again. You're not protecting us, Jungkook snapped. You're protecting your own heart, your own fear, and it's killing me, Jimin, every day, it's killing me. And maybe that's what this is, Jimin whispered, almost to himself. Maybe this anger, this fighting, it's the only way we've learned to survive, to stay connected, to stay alive, to stay human. And maybe, Jungkook replied, voice low, intense. Maybe it's also the only way we'll break through. Only if we let it all out, expose every fear, every flaw, every secret, will we find something worth holding on to. The tension in the room was palpable, almost suffocating. Each word igniting sparks that threatened to set the air ablaze. Jin, phone still recording, watched as the two of them collided with words sharper than any weapon. You realize, Jin said finally, voice calm but cutting, that once this conversation is over, nothing can be undone. Every word spoken, every truth revealed, every accusation made, it's permanent. And yet, maybe that's the only way to really survive. Jimin and Jungkook exchanged a long, tense silence. Exhaustion mingled with relief. Fear mingled with clarity. They had torn each other apart, exposed the raw nerves beneath pride and anger. And yet something fragile, something real, remained. Then we face it, Jimin whispered finally, voice trembling but resolute. No more hiding, no more walls, no more running. And if it destroys us? Jungkook asked, a shadow of doubt flickering across his resolve. Then we learn what survives, Jimin said softly. And maybe that's enough. The three stood together, the phone silently capturing every fraction of their raw, unfiltered humanity. Every fight, every confession, every fracture of trust and hope immortalized in digital ink. And for the first time, amidst the firestorm of anger and revelation, they felt a fragile sense of possibility. You think this ends with words? Jimin's voice cut sharply through the charged air, a mixture of fury and disbelief. After everything we've been through, after all the lies, all the secrets, all the nights we pretended nothing was wrong, you think talking will fix it? Talking is the only thing left. Jungkook shot back, chest heaving with raw emotion. All the running, all the hiding, all the pretending it's gone too far. If we don't face it now, we'll lose everything. I won't let that happen. Not after everything. You won't let it happen? Jimin's laugh was bitter, almost unhinged. Do you even realize what's at stake? Do you even see the cracks we've been walking over? Pretending they're not there? You think sheer force of will can repair months of betrayal? It's not about force, Jungkook said sharply. It's about honesty. For once, we need to speak without shields, without excuses. We need to tear everything down to see what's left. Jimin's eyes narrowed, but his voice softened, trembling slightly. And if what's left isn't enough, if the damage is too deep, the fractures irreparable, then we deal with it, Jungkook replied. We don't run, we don't hide, we don't pretend. We face it together or apart, but with truth. Jin, standing off to the side, phone still recording, finally interjected. This is the moment, you two. Not tomorrow, not later. Now. Every word, every confession, every hidden thought, it's all on the line, and nothing can be undone. Are you ready for that? Jimin's voice was quiet, but loaded with intensity. I've never been more terrified, and I've never been more willing. Then start, Jin said. No holding back. Jimin exhaled sharply. I've been angry, Jungkook. Not at you entirely, but at the circumstances, at the world, at myself. I've pushed and pulled, tried to control, tried to protect, and in doing so, I've hurt you in ways I can't even name. I've held back truths because I was scared. Scared of rejection, scared of failure, scared of losing you. And every time I did, I built walls instead of bridges. Jungkook's hands clenched, but he remained silent, letting Jimin's words sink in. You've done the same, Jimin continued, voice trembling. You've carried burdens alone, made decisions without telling me, acted like the weight of the world is yours alone to bear. And I resented you for it, even while I understood why you did it. I resented you because it hurt, and I was powerless to stop it. I've made mistakes, Jungkook said finally, voice low, raw. I've misjudged, miscalculated, misread your intentions. I've thought I was protecting us when I was just protecting myself, my fear. I've failed you in ways I can't undo. But every risk, every sleepless night, every word spoken and unspoken, I did it all for us. For this, for what we mean to each other. And yet, we're still here, Jimin whispered, fractured, torn, raw but still standing, still speaking. And maybe that's proof that we can survive, even if it hurts, even if we bleed, even if everything seems lost. Maybe, Jungkook said, voice cracking with emotion, maybe the only way to survive is to accept that it will hurt, that we will fail, that we will collide. But in the collision, maybe we find clarity. Maybe we find what's worth holding on to. I've been scared, Jimin admitted, voice barely audible. Scared that the truth would destroy us. Scared that my fears, my anger, my guilt would push you away forever. But hiding it, pretending, pushing you away that would destroy us faster than any truth. And I've been scared too, Jungkook confessed. Scared of being seen as weak, scared of being blamed, scared of losing you. I've built walls instead of opening doors. And every time I did, I hurt us both. Then we tear the walls down, Jimin said, voice rising, fierce and resolute. No more hiding, no more secrets, no more excuses. If we survive this, it will be because we faced it all together. And if we don't? Jungkook asked, voice trembling, a shadow of doubt flickering across his features. Then we know we tried, Jimin said, quiet but firm. And even if it falls apart, at least we faced it honestly. At least we were brave enough to confront the chaos inside us instead of pretending it wasn't there. Jin's phone hummed quietly in his pocket, recording every raw, unfiltered moment. Every confession, every accusation, every vulnerability, every desperate attempt at connection, it was all captured. A testament to the truth of their bond. You've both carried too much alone, Jin said finally. Too much fear, too much guilt, too much anger. But in the middle of all this chaos, there's still a choice. A choice to forgive, to understand, to rebuild, or to let it all fall apart. I choose to rebuild, Jimin said firmly, almost defiantly. I choose to fight for us, Jungkook replied, voice heavy but resolute. To take the pain, the anger, the mistakes, and turn them into something stronger. Not perfect, not easy, but real. And I'll make sure it's remembered, Jin said, voice soft but deliberate. So when you doubt yourselves, when you question whether it's worth it, you'll have a record. Not of arguments, not of blame, but of truth, of survival, of courage, of humanity. The room fell into silence. Not peaceful, not resolved, but charged with an intensity that neither anger nor fear could dilute. Exhaustion mingled with tentative hope, pain mingled with clarity, fractures mingled with the beginnings of understanding. Jimin and Jungkook stood there, raw, exposed, and for the first time in months, not fighting against each other, but with each other. Jin lowered his phone, allowing the tension to settle into something fragile yet undeniable. You're not perfect, Jimin said quietly. Neither of us is, but maybe that's the point. Maybe the cracks, the fights, the chaos, they're proof that we're alive, that we're real, that we're trying. And that's enough, Jungkook said, voice steady now, though still trembling with emotion. For now, that has to be enough. And in that moment, amidst the remnants of anger, fear, and frustration, a fragile understanding formed a truth that was unpolished, messy, and terrifyingly real. A recognition that survival wasn't about avoiding pain or conflict, but about facing it together without pretense, without walls, without excuses. Jin finally spoke, breaking the silence with calm authority. Then go forward. Not perfect, not guaranteed, but together. And whatever comes next, remember this moment. Remember the honesty, the courage, the chaos, and whatever else happens, don't hide from it again. For the first time in months, Jimin and Jungkook allowed themselves to breathe, not relief, not triumph, not certainty, but the clarity that comes from speaking truth, facing fear, and standing together in the raw aftermath of confrontation. The phone in Jin's hand captured every fragment, every word, every confession, every heated moment, and every tender admission, preserving not just their conflict but the fragile threads of reconciliation that had begun to weave between them. And as they stepped away from the battlefield of words, the tension and fear lingering like a shadow, there was an unspoken acknowledgement. The war was not over. The challenges would come again, but for now, they had survived the firestorm together. And in that survival, they found something far more valuable than victory: connection, truth, and the courage to face the next storm, side by side. "You lied to me." Jimin's voice cracked like lightning, the words snapping through the room with dangerous intensity. "Do you even realize what that means? After everything, after every word, every promise, you still hid this from me?" "I didn't lie," Jungkook snapped, voice shaking, edge sharp. "I didn't tell you because I was protecting you. Because I knew if I did, it would destroy more than just us." "Protecting me?" Jimin's laugh was bitter, bitter enough to taste like blood. "You call secrecy protection. Every day, every moment, every single time you chose silence over truth. You betrayed me. Do you have any idea what that feels like?" "I know exactly what it feels like." Jungkook shot back, desperation bleeding through his words. "Every sleepless night, every fight we've had, every fracture in our trust, I live with it. I feel it in every heartbeat. And yet, you keep accusing me like I'm the villain here." "The villain?" Jimin repeated, voice low, trembling. "You think it's just about villainy? It's about trust. It's about honesty. It's about the fact that I've carried the weight of our chaos with you. And every time I thought we were aligned, I discovered another secret you'd buried. I never wanted to hurt you." Jungkook's voice fell to a whisper, barely audible, but charged with raw emotion. "Do you even hear yourself, Jimin? You're acting like I'm deliberately stabbing you in the back. But everything I did, every risk, every omission, it was because I was scared. Scared of losing you, scared of failing us. Scared of what the truth could do. And you think that makes it okay?" Jimin's voice trembled, burning with anger and pain. "That fear somehow absolves you? That hiding everything, choosing silence, is acceptable because you're afraid?" "It's not okay!" Jungkook shouted, stepping closer, though still measured, controlled, eyes burning. "But it was survival. For us. For everything we've built. You think I enjoy carrying this weight alone? You think I enjoy knowing I've fractured the only person I care about while trying to protect them? You fractured me," Jimin said, voice dropping, tight with grief and fury. "Every lie, every omission, every secret fractured. And it's not just anger or betrayal. It's fear, Jungkook. Fear that the foundation we've built will collapse. Fear that I've been blind to everything you've been doing behind my back." "You weren't blind." Jungkook's reply was intense, trembling with emotion. "Every time I thought I could tell you, every time I reached for you, you were already questioning, doubting, preparing to defend yourself against me. I didn't hide from you to hurt you. I hid because I was terrified of breaking what we couldn't repair." "Repair?" Jimin's voice cracked, disbelief and anger mingling. "Do you even understand what repair means when trust is destroyed? When every revelation, every confession, every heated confrontation only exposes another layer of betrayal? Then we rebuild," Jungkook said, voice low, deliberate, dangerous in its intensity. "We take every fracture, every lie, every secret, and we reconstruct it. Not perfectly, not easily, but authentically, without pretense, without fear of exposing ourselves completely." "And what if it's too late?" Jimin whispered, voice trembling, a shadow of despair threading through his fury. "What if the fractures are too deep, the secrets too heavy, the betrayal too sharp? Can we survive that?" "We have to try," Jungkook replied. "We survive because we face it all, together. Every fear, every anger, every vulnerability. Nothing held back, nothing hidden. We confront it, or it destroys us. That's the choice." "You think I don't want that?" Jimin's voice rose, almost breaking. "Do you think I enjoy the tension, the endless nights, the arguing, the fear? You think I want this firestorm? Every part of me wants peace, but you keep throwing bombs in the room and calling it love." "I'm not throwing bombs." Jungkook's words were fierce, trembling with raw intensity. "I'm trying to survive the storm with you. Every risk, every omission, every moment of silence, it was never to harm you. It was to protect the fragile thing between us that neither of us can define but both desperately need." "Then why does it hurt so much?" Jimin demanded, voice breaking. Why does every revelation feel like a knife twisting deeper? Every truth feel like betrayal? Why is honesty here the most dangerous weapon of all? Because we're human, Jungkook said simply, voice quiet but burning. Because love, loyalty, trust, they aren't neat or easy. They're messy and terrifying and imperfect. And yet, they're the only things worth fighting for. Every scar, every fracture, every moment of pain, that's what proves we're alive, that we care, that we're real. Jin, still standing with his phone recording, stepped closer. And maybe that's the lesson here. That honesty isn't painless. That vulnerability isn't comfortable. That truth, no matter how explosive, is the only thing that can keep you from destroying each other. And maybe in exposing everything, you finally see each other clearly, not as enemies, not as betrayers, but as flawed humans fighting to survive together. Jimin exhaled, long and trembling, the fire in his voice dimming into fragile clarity. Then we face it. Everything. No more hiding, no more walls, no more pretending. If we're going to survive, we have to let it all out. Every fear, every lie, every truth we've kept buried. Agreed, Jungkook said, voice steady now but heavy with emotion. No pretense, no holding back. If we survive this, it's because we faced it all honestly, together. And if we don't, then at least we know we tried. Jin's phone captured every heartbeat, every tremor, every confession, every accusation, every fragment of their fractured bond, immortalized in raw, unfiltered reality. And in the silence that followed, amidst exhaustion, pain, and tentative understanding, the three realized something undeniable. Survival wasn't about perfection, victory, or avoidance. It was about honesty, exposure, and the courage to face chaos without hiding. For Jimin and Jungkook, this was the ultimate test. Not of love, not of loyalty, not of friendship, but of humanity. Every confrontation, every revelation, every heated argument had led to this. A fragile, terrifying clarity that neither could ignore. The firestorm of emotions, the tension, the fear, the anger, the guilt, and the desperation all coalesced into a single, undeniable truth. They could survive this, but only if they faced it together. And as the first fragile threads of reconciliation began to form, Jin lowered his phone, silent witness to every word, every fracture, every attempt to rebuild a bond nearly destroyed. For the first time, they allowed themselves to see what had been hidden, to acknowledge what had been denied, and to confront the truth without fear of consequence. Not perfect, not safe, not easy, but honest. And perhaps, in honesty, there was hope. You've been hiding this from me all along? Jimin's voice cut through the room like fire, his words loaded with disbelief and anger. Do you realize what this means? After every promise, every plan, every conversation we had, you still kept secrets? I wasn't hiding it to hurt you. Jungkook shot back, his voice trembling but sharp, charged with a desperate intensity. I kept it from you because I knew you wouldn't understand, because I was terrified of losing you if I told the truth. Terrified? Jimin's laugh was bitter, almost hysterical. Do you have any idea how much I've suffered? Wondering, questioning, doubting myself, questioning us, because of your silence. You call it protection. I call it betrayal. It's not betrayal. Jungkook's words were fierce, almost shaking with raw emotion. Every decision I made, every risk I took, every lie I withheld, it was all to keep us together. Can't you see that? See that? Jimin snapped, stepping closer, voice sharp and trembling. Do you even understand the damage you've done? The trust you've broken? Every omission, every withheld truth, every moment you pretended it didn't matter, it's all piled up. Do you realize how hard it is to forgive that? I know exactly what I've done. Jungkook's voice lowered, raw and urgent. I know I've failed you, hurt you, and maybe destroyed your faith in me. And yet here we are, standing in the ruins of our own making, trying to piece it back together. Do you think that's easy for me? You made it impossible, Jimin shouted, anguish cutting through his words. Impossible to trust, impossible to believe, impossible to breathe without fear of another revelation, another betrayal, another lie. And maybe that's the point. Jungkook said, voice heavy, almost pleading. Maybe the only way to survive this is to confront it all. Every fear, every secret, every fracture between us. No pretense, no walls, no excuses, just truth. And maybe if we survive it, we'll be stronger than before. You think truth will fix this? Jimin's voice was low, skeptical, almost shaking with pain. Do you know how fragile trust is? How easily it shatters? How one misstep, one hidden fact, one unspoken fear can destroy everything? I don't know, Jungkook admitted, voice trembling, intense. I don't know if it can be fixed. I only know we can't keep pretending. We can't keep living in shadows, in silence, in fear. The only choice left is to face it, all of it, together or apart, but with no more lies. And what if it destroys us? Jimin whispered, almost to himself, eyes distant, voice raw. What if this honesty, this confrontation, tears us apart completely? Then we know we tried, Jungkook said, voice firm but heavy. We faced everything, our fears, our anger, our guilt, our failures. If it falls apart, it's because it had to be seen in the open, not because we were afraid to confront it. Jin, standing quietly with his phone recording, finally spoke, voice calm but deliberate. And maybe that's the lesson here. That love, trust, loyalty, they're never simple. They're messy, complicated, terrifying. But that's the only thing that makes them real. You can't survive without chaos.